Hey, Josh. Would Christian Javier be available to pitch for you today?
Probably not. 96, 97 pitches a couple days ago. It would be his normal bullpen day. He could potentially give an inning, but it's probably not in our best interest to throw him today.
Danielle?
You've obviously worked with this entire staff all season and been singing their praises all along, but is there anything this postseason that has surprised you about any one guy or about your staff as a whole?
No, everybody is, handled the work well. Just a few hiccups during the postseason. I'd say Brian Abreu has really rose to the occasion and continued what he did towards the back half of the regular season and been a tremendous weapon for us.
Go to Matt up front here.
Josh, can you give us an idea? It's a collective thinking when you make certain moves. Of course, Dusty, it's on his head. He has to answer for everything, right or wrong. But give us an idea of how that goes through and the appreciation you have for the manager's spot as a former pitcher making those decisions.
Yeah, Dusty, ultimately makes the end call on any moves we make in game. Being blessed with a lot of really good options in the bullpen all year has made it easy. Whoever's name the wheel ends on, it's ended up pretty good for the most part. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, a lot of prep, a lot of matchup-based things where one guy might play well against a certain hitter versus not as much against a different one, and that goes into our decision on who to bring in.
Go to Gabe in the fourth row.
Josh, how big has Fromber's, improvement on the mental side of the game, keeping his emotions in check, how big has that been? Was there a certain moment where you realized maybe he turned a corner, and to what extent has, what he does rubbed off on some of his teammates down there?
I mean, it's been huge for him. I've talked about this a few times in the last couple of weeks. In 18, when he made his debut, he was a kind of a volatile starting pitcher. In 19, he kind of didn't have a role. Started in the bullpen, made a few starts for us, and was up and down. He really turned the corner during the 2020 COVID season, became a reliable, trusted starter for us. And then last year, after coming back from his finger injury he suffered during spring training, was a force. And he's just built on that each time out. And the mental side of things have worked wonders for him. He's pitching with confidence. He tries to, as best he can, control his emotions when things might go awry, and it's allowed him to stay in games deeper. We saw the 25-game consecutive quality start streak, and that plays a lot into that for sure.
Go to the first row, Josh.
What has it been like having Justin Verlander back with you all this year, being able to have a future Hall of Famer talk to some of the younger pitchers and help them as far as their preparation, game preparation and things like that?
I mean, having JV back's been huge for us, having that rock at the top of the rotation that we can count on for a quality start, also to be a mentor to the young guys and be a presence in the dugout, in the clubhouse, for in-between start work. Maybe in the middle of a game, give them some of his perspective, and it's paid dividends for sure.
Go to the third row.
Josh, you mentioned Abreu earlier, and you may have talked about this earlier in the season, but what came together for him specifically this year, and where have you seen the growth with Brian Abreu?
Sure. He last year, he pitched in some pretty big spots in the season. Was in the seventh inning in some tight games for us, and things didn't really go well all the time, not as consistent as he's been this year. I feel like he's commanding his pitches a little bit better. We saw the quality of the fastball velocity tick up a little bit this year, and he's, like I mentioned about Framber, just pitching with a ton of confidence, and it shows.
And right up front to your right.
Hey, good afternoon. Dusty, I believe in Philadelphia, mentioned by one of the reporters in Philadelphia asking about Jose Urquidy that he was going to be placed in particular situations, and he was placed on when a game was practically already resolved to the opposing team. Is that the only situation that Jose Urquidy is useful for the Astros, or what is the situation with Jose Urquidy to be used in other more game-defining situations?
Yeah, Urquidy was not just used as the last guy, a down game only option. He's certainly a weapon, has pitched in very big spots for this team before, and he'll be ready to go today in case we need him. He matches up against this lineup pretty well. We have a lot of good options in the bullpen, and him to be called on in a tight situation late will mean we have to probably roll through a few other options before him.
Questions for Josh? Back to the front.
What was it like for you seeing Justin being able to get his first World Series win? And it seemed when he came into the dugout, there was a lot of emotions from his teammates.
A lot of emotions from all of us. I'd say him probably more than anybody, but it was big. It was huge. I know that it's been, a story in his career. He's pitched a bunch of times and not gotten a win as a starting pitcher in the World Series. His first start in Game 1 this year, started like, okay, we got the win in the bag, and then kind of let it get away from us a couple days ago. Started off bad with the leadoff homer, kind of scattered first time through the order, and he kind of reined it in and got things going and able to get through 5 and hold on to the win. It was really big for him. It was cool to be a part of.
More questions for Josh? Anything else? All right, Josh, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys. Yep.
Chaz, who's the coolest person you heard from after your catch?
Coolest person, Miles Straw.
What did Straw say?
He just said, "Let's effing go." That was heat.
Chaz, now that back here,
Sorry, yeah.
now that you've seen the video, I presume, what were your thoughts upon watching it?
It was cool. I mean, it's a good catch, perfect timing, really big catch. I'm just happy that I was able to help the team win. But yeah, I mean, I watched it a lot. A lot of people sent it to me, but it's a new day.
Go up here to Francisco, to your right, Chaz.
That was an explicit catch, man. Congratulations on
Thank
that
you.
sense. And as you say, it's a new day, new page.
Yep.
How are the guys inside? How do you guys feel about this Game 6 that usually has not been a nice game for the Houston Astros in the World Series? So how do you guys feel about tonight?
We feel good. We're ready to go. We're prepared. We're focused. We're going to do anything to win tonight. We're not going to play with too much pressure. We're just going to play like we've been playing all season. We're confident, ready to go.
Towards the back right.
The Astros just announced that Yuli is now not a part of the roster. How do you think that changes the offense?
I don't think it changes too much. Obviously, Yuli's been one of our best hitters in the postseason, so obviously it stinks not having him. But, we have guys that know their role, and we're confident in anybody who's going to be in that lineup. We have a lot of good hitters on this team. So I don't think it will change much. Obviously, losing Yuli sucks, but, at this time, everyone's got to be ready.
The fifth row in the left center aisle.
You're wearing the Framber Quality Tour shirt.
Yeah.
I see a lot of guys wearing those in pregame. Is that just a sign of support for the guy pitching tonight? And how did y'all all get those shirts?
Framber's on the mound. We have tons of confidence in him. I personally just like wearing the shirts. It's really comfortable. I think a lot of us like these shirts. But obviously, Framber is pitching today, and it's just kind of support. We got his back. The shirts just randomly were put in our locker, so I really like them.
Other questions for Chaz? Matt up front here.
Chaz, you've never been a high-profile guy until all of this.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? And you've always been great about staying focused, even when you
Yep.
got sent down to AAA for a couple of days. You've always done that. So how do you go forward in this world?
You just got to move on. Every day is a new day. Personally, I tried not to check my phone, kind of leave that out. Just wait till the season over, and then maybe I'll look at my phone more. But like I said, today's a new day. You kind of got to. It's in the past. You got to forget about it. Just stay focused and be prepared every single day, and know the ultimate goal. It's time to refocus and be ready to win a ball game.
Third row right in the middle.
Chad, I know you're trying to focus on today, but I think it was the Yankee series. You talked about your sort of evolution as a hitter. So coming off of this catch, I was curious about your evolution as a defensive player, and if maybe there was some motivation for you as you were platooning over the last year or so of kind of trying to put the work in to make some improvements there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of been more of a corner outfielder guy, but they really needed me to play center field. And I've done a lot of work this year, even in spring training, to become a good center fielder, because being a good center fielder is really big in this league, and you have control over the whole outfield. But yeah, I'm just trying to make plays for the team wherever I'm at. I'm confident in wherever I'm at, and yeah, for the past couple of months, I've been starting to feel really good in center field.
Second row on your right, Bob.
Chaz, back to your catch. Did you get any strange or funny comments from friends who are diehard Phillies fans?
Yeah, I got some strange things. I won't really talk about, but most of them were, man, you could have dropped that ball, or why did you catch that ball? But yeah, that's really about it.
The back left corner, Dave.
Chaz, kind of on that same thing. I mean, you're up against it anyway going into that series, wearing the wrong uniform for your crew back home. But as good as they were about it before going into the series, after that catch, was there more of an edge to it after they saw you do that?
Yeah, I didn't have any friends after that, to tell you the truth. But I'm super happy I got to do it in the hometown.
Other questions for Chaz? The back center there.
I guess just one last on the catch. Growing up in Westchester, did you ever think that you would literally make your mark on Citizens Bank Park like that?
No, I never did. I know my 13-year-old self would be really mad at me. But yeah, I mean, leaving my mark in my hometown ballpark is nothing better.
Anything else for Chaz? All right,
Thank you.
Chaz,
Thank you, guys. Let's go.
Appreciate you. Left, Dusty.
Dusty, can you offer any clarity on Yuli and kind of what the measures he took to try to get back and kind of what the diagnosis and kind of his status is?
Well, he took he tried everything. Came in yesterday, got treatment, came in this morning early, got treatment. Didn't respond well enough to play. He tried to run. From a guy who had knee injuries, the hardest thing to do was to stop, and then to round the bases or have lateral movement. And he tried everything. He wasn't crying, but he had tears in his eyes. You could tell how badly that he wanted to play. We just couldn't do it, and had to replace him.
Front to your right, Dusty. Francisco.
Hey, Skip. You talked about Julie. Do you have any thoughts about the possible 7-game opener? And if you don't mind me asking also, pase lo que pase el día de hoy, si llegan a ganar, ¿este será el último baile de Dusty Baker?
Sí, pero no se puede hablar el 7 juego starter, no tampoco después de juego, pero espero hoy es el último día. Nosotros preocupados el 7 juega después de esto, pero Yuli está muy duele en el piernas y no se puede jugar con nosotros.
Go to the second row on your left, Dusty.
Hi, Dusty. On a day like today, when you have a chance to clinch a series and, more importantly, the World Series, are the emotions any different than a normal playoff game, and is your routine any different than a normal playoff game?
No, my routine's not any different. The emotions are definitely there, and definitely there on both sides. We're trying to close it out, and they're trying to remain alive. And so, their emotions running high today, but you got to try to remain as calm, as you can. You can waste emotion early because we got 3 or 4 hours before the game starts. You only got so much emotion, so you got to kind of calm it, and the closer the game gets, and closer than, me personally, my son asks me all the time, Dad, are you excited yet? And I tell him, not yet. And he knows what answer he's going to get because I try to save it until the national anthem, who's ever singing the national anthem, then that's when it gets to its peak.
We'll go to Christy in the second row here.
Hey, Dusty, I wondered what was your day like today before you came to the ballpark? What did you do? What music did you listen to? Like, kind of just a sense of your day.
Well, yeah. First, I went and got coffee at my normal spot in Rice Village, and then I went to pick up these expensive shoes that the sole came off in. I was getting them repaired, and then I went by the cleaners, and then then I came here and I was listening to Big Mama Thornton. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. 'Cause that's what I was listening to. That's what my mom used to tell me sometimes.
Go to the back right corner with Anthony.
Hey, Dusty. You've referenced your son a lot during this
Yeah.
run. I'm just curious, as he's gotten older, what's it been like to have him to bounce things off of or discuss these games with?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. It's been great having him here. And, I mean, he was here last time, 20 years ago. Well, he was here last year too, but, 20 years ago, he was 3 years old and a bat boy. So, yeah, as you can tell, I think highly of my son, and, he's probably the most positive person that I've met. You know how he's no longer a kid, but you know how kids are. I mean, you go fishing, they're always thinking they're going to catch something, and he does. And he reminds me that, hey, Dad, you get it done.
Third row right in the middle here.
Hi, Dusty. How can Julie's news affect with Framber pitching, so defensively?
That's a good question. Yeah. We'll see. Like we went with Mancini because we think that he has the most experience at first base. And, whoever on the infield is going to get probably more action than they would normally get, and also get more throws across the diamond than you'd normally get because there are going to be so many ground balls probably hit to the left side of the field. And now it's Mancini's time to shine, and I feel that, this is another opportunity for him to have a good series, all in one game, hopefully.
Go first row right up front.
Dusty, I know there's a lot of pressure already to just win a World Series as a manager, but being on the verge of winning a World Series as an African-American manager, what does that mean to you, and do you have any different type of emotions?
No, not yet. I mean, it's in the hands of the Lord to me anyway. As much as you think you're in control, you're really not in control as much as you think you are. All you can control is, what you can control. And I don't think about being an African-American manager because I look in the mirror every day, I know what I am. You know what I'm saying? And so I do know that, there's certain pressure from a lot of people that are pulling for me, especially people of color. And that part I do feel. I hear it every day. I see it when I'm walking down the street, when I see policemen or bellmen or anybody of color, but especially of African-American color. And so I feel that, I've been chosen for this. Now, there was a time that I didn't necessarily want it, but that's been the story of my life. A lot of things I didn't want that, you're forced to be in this position. And think about my dad and all the souls that are passed before me.
One or two more. Danielle on your left, Dusty.
Christian Vasquez obviously played a big role in catching that no-hitter the other night, but having the opportunity to DH him today, you guys have only done that once, I think, since he came over here. Just what are you looking for offensively from him, and what have you seen throughout this postseason so far?
Well, number one, he's a contact guy. I can do a lot of things with him. I did that one time as an experiment to see. I had wanted to do it a couple times, but I didn't want to have to necessarily, in case something happened to Maldi, if I had to hit for Maldi or run for Maldi or whatever it is, I really didn't want to put my team in a position where I was going to lose the DH and then have to put a pitcher in there and then hit for the pitcher, revert back to my National League days, with only a four-man bench. So this is something that I had thought about, talked about, especially with my batting coaches many times, but wasn't in a position to do so, without the third catcher, even though the third catcher would probably be in a game late, catching and not very experienced. But, I put I put young players in a position many times, and they've come through. You know what I mean? So, just like I told him, hey, man, David slew Goliath, so maybe I hope I don't have to use David necessarily sometime. But that's what I told him.
And we'll finish up with Matt up front here.
I was asking Josh about the collaborative thinking of pitcher usage and that type of thing, but it all comes down to your decision. And do you enjoy that spot? It would seem like to outsiders to make the decision of which pitcher to go with now, next time after that, in-game decisions. You obviously enjoy managing. Is that?
Well, that's part of my job, but I mean, it's also I'm the one that does it, but I'm not the only one that's in the decision. You know what I mean? So that's why, the President of the United States makes a decision and addresses the public, but he got a Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of this, and Secretary of that. And a man that doesn't use his counsel is not a very wise man. That's why especially if you're waging war or whatever it is which we are out there in, you have to use the people that were trained to do that. So, and it's a little tougher now because we're in the age of the sabermetrics and different things, and sometimes the computer doesn't necessarily agree with me or you or whatever, but I'm the one that has to deliver the message.
It's the challenge of real-time decision. You can sit and plan all day long, but you have to make the real-time decision, then you'll be asked about it later.
Yeah, well, what I'm going to do, that's just like the coach that I was reading the other day, the coach that started a young quarterback, and he goes to the get a haircut on Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday after the Saturday game and college game, and the barber tells him, hey, man, I don't think I'd use that young quarterback on Saturday that you use. And the coach said, hey, if I had until Sunday to make that decision, I wouldn't have used him either.
Dusty, thanks so much. We'll see you later.